A PLC is a personalised learning checklist, and there are lots of clear advantages, as far as I am concerned, about the need to use a PLC and how it really helps students to progress in their learning. I think it's twofold. It's about the student progression, but it's also about helping staff to really understand and be clear about what it is that students need to know in order to be able to succeed in their studies in each of their individual subjects. Having them on paper means that there is less interaction between student and between teacher, because if the student hasn't got them with them and then the teacher hasn't seen it, or it means that it's more difficult if you wanted to share your ideas, if you each have separate copies. It's much easier in the departments where those are online that I can go on and I can look at them and I can then assess where a student is at and what specific particular need might be.
MyPLC is an online progress tracker, so students can progress their learning. Once they've completed a stage within a unit, they can go on and judge how they think they've done and do that against what a teacher has been able to grade. But they're able to make that judgment on their own learning and their own progress.
It's a lot more fluid for us in terms of knowing how they're learning in their progression of their learning. So it gives us more of an idea of how they're progressing throughout the year, as opposed to at the start and then at the end.
We do a system where we give an exam question to them, we get them to mark the question and then give themselves a score out of whatever it's out of, and we'll then go back and actually give them the score. I find most of my students are too critical of themselves. They're not overcritical, they're not overconfident. They go and turn around and say, actually, I only got 3 out of 6 on that, and I'm like, actually, no, you got 5 out of 6. So to be able to have that system where they go in there and say, I think I'm an amber, and I turn around and say they're a green, it's a confidence booster definitely for them, and definitely help them in their confidence.
Seeing it instantly would be much more helpful, because then you can see exactly what your teacher thinks as soon as they mark a piece of work or as soon as you've done a lesson, so that you can feel whether you can see whether you need to improve or revise more in a certain area.
A lot of these things can be overcomplicated, and then kids get lost, we get lost, and then people just don't pick them up. The idea of this being simple and the fact that they can just jump on a computer, or I like the fact that it's on their phone. I really like that, because that's a simple thing they can do. And the phone login was even easier than in some ways than the computers.
Electronic PLCs for us are fantastic when we are tracking our vulnerable students. To be able to, as a senior leader or as a middle leader, to sit with a student and pull up their PLC electronically and talk them through it as maybe part of a mentoring meeting is also absolutely invaluable to us. And at the end of the day, staff in schools across the country work incredibly hard, and their time is very, very precious. And the systems that we ask them to use and that we develop in conjunction with people have to be those that make the life of teachers easier and make the life of students more productive. And I firmly believe that MyPLC will do that, because it is a system that students can get into easily, will be able to track their progress against easily. So this system isn't about making life more complicated. It's absolutely a system that should make life easier for staff, should make progression and tracking easier, and ultimately student achievement greater.